Hi there. Welcome back, friends, to another reading. Today turned out to be a very wet day. When the rain started mid to late afternoon, it's still going on out there. And apparently the rest of the week is going to be wet as well. This is probably the year of the rain, or the summer of the rain. Last summer was just when we were getting baked in 3-digit temperatures, Fahrenheit, and 40 plus degrees Celsius temperatures. It was a hot year last year. But this year it's been wet. So if you're out there, be careful because the roads are pretty bad. I just came back from a business meeting and people that were talking about driving through water which was 12 inches deep, which is getting on the dangerous side. So anyway, take care. Today's reading is called Choose Solitude. I'm not going to get into it now. The first quote is from Henri Nouwen, and I've known about him. He wrote a book called The Wounded Healer, and I knew something about him. He was a Dutch Jesuit priest, but he spent a lot of his life in different countries, quite a bit in the US, in Canada, in France, and of course in the Netherlands, where he was born. He finally died in the Netherlands, but on a visit back there, actually. And he is a very prolific writer. He was busy in the fields of spirituality, but also psychology. And he eventually got involved in lots of social issues. He actually took part in the famous Civil Rights March. And he participated in lots of events trying to bring about social justice, as it were. So he said, solitude is not a private therapeutic place. Rather, it is the place of conversion, the place where the old self dies and the new self is born. And Holmes said in Science of Mind textbook, page 38, something simple for once. There is flowing through us a creative something. There is flowing through us a creative something with capital S. And Josh Rees points out, he says, there's two types of being alone. The first one is isolation. He says, in isolation, I feel totally cut off from everyone and everything. I feel utterly alone and disconnected. In isolation, I feel outside of life, outside of the universal flow, and not myself. There is nothing lonelier than isolation. He says, I feel isolated when I hold too tightly to the need to be right. I feel it when I act in blame and judgment. I can feel totally isolated, not just when I'm alone, but also when I'm at a dinner table or in a room full of people. He says, then there's solitude, the second type of being alone. Solitude is, in my experience, the most surefire way to realize and feel that I'm never alone. Solitude offers utter connection with all of life. True solitude is when the divine announces itself in my soul. I experience solitude when I let go of the busy world and turn inward. Solitude can be in spiritual practice, in nature, or in creative work. Rather than disconnecting me, solitude makes me aware of my connections. Isolation detracts. Solitude enriches. In isolation, we lose ourselves. In solitude, we find ourselves again and again. He says, today I cherish solitude, the time where my inner life takes precedence over my busy life. The moments of awareness that I am connected with something infinite. The place where the creative muse, capitalized, gets to work through me. Solitude can be as healing as our best friends at time. So what do you make of this? You might want to look at it in a slightly different way. You can say there's loneliness and there's being alone. Loneliness is when you feel isolated from life. Loneliness is when you feel isolated from other human beings. But solitude and aloneness, really kind of the same thing, are when we consciously choose to take some time out from our busy lives and just be. Somebody once said that we are human beings, and we ought to remember we are human beings and not just human doings. Well, it's kind of an exaggeration, of course, like a lot of things in this regard. But when you're a human doing, and that's all you are, you never allow yourself to just be. And the converse is also true. You cannot just spend your life being, because we live in a world where things need to get done, even if it's only simple things like cooking and so on. So I look at this way. It's really just taking time out for yourself, deliberately and knowingly taking some time out for yourself. And I think it's just one part of self-care. So that's my take on this whole thing. Yep, it's a bit late. It's 7:30 p.m. right now. And I'm normally on at 5 o'clock, but I can't be in two places at once. I know some people can bilocate. In other words, they can be in two places at once. I can't. I can only be in one place at once. So I have to make judgments. Oh, this gives you something to think about, something to cogitate, something to muse over, and let me know what you think. Do you get the difference between the two forms he's talking about here? You know, he's talking about isolation and solitude, or loneliness and being alone. Both saying the same thing. He says in the affirmation, today I seek refuge in solitude and listen for the voice of the divine announcing itself in my soul. Today I seek refuge in solitude and listen for the voice of the divine announcing itself in my soul. And that really is just another way of saying you're meditating. I mean, it's the same thing. When you take time out just to be, that's meditation. Feels good just to get back, sit down in this chair and just read something and not have to worry about getting something done. I've put it all at one side for now. Yeah, I got things to do afterwards, but they can wait. It's okay. Reverend Lisa will be on tomorrow morning. Speaking of self-care, the Self-Care Prophetess will be on at 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. And I'll be back hopefully at 5 o'clock tomorrow evening. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay well, take care of yourselves, and until next time, namaste.